In the morning when I rise, give me Jesus.
Good morning. So you can tell by my backdrop that we have left Atlanta and we're back home in Gainesville. We had a great time, but it's good to be home. I hope you enjoyed 1 Corinthians as much as I did. Paul is talking to the church in Corinth, and so he's talking to us because we are God's church. Celebrate the gospel. If Jesus wasn't raised from the dead, then none of this means anything. Well, he did raise from the dead, and we were crucified with him so that we're dead. Now he lives his life through us. That's Galatians 2:20. And we were buried with him along with all our junk so that we could be raised up in Christ to new life in him. Now that's the gospel, and it's real because Jesus did raise from the dead and appeared to many, many people back then in Jerusalem. Well, today we start in Numbers. We're going to read chapters 1 through 4. I want to go through Numbers in a week. Read it with me and enjoy how all of the Old Testament points to Jesus. And you're going to see it very clearly here in chapters 1 through 4. You remember how God was so specific when he had Moses build the tabernacle. The tabernacle was the tent of meeting. It was where they would come together and bring their sacrifices so that the priests could then bring the sacrifice into the tent and sprinkle blood to cover the sin of the children of Israel. This tent was portable. You'll remember God showed up in a cloud during the day and a pillar of fire at night so that they would be able to follow God. And so if God started moving, they were to move with him. Well, here in Numbers 1 through 4, God is very specific about who should do what to pack up the tabernacle and all of its holiness and carry it with them to the new location, and how they should camp around the tabernacle once they got to their new location. First of all, God takes a census, and so we see how many men, years 20 and above, are in each family. And God needed to know that because he was going to be very specific in who did what jobs and where they would camp. Oh, I want you to see how it's going to point to Jesus. The children of Levi were separated into 4 groups within the family of Levi, and each one had a specific job. There was one family that was responsible for moving the tent, taking it down and folding it up and carrying it to the new location. There was another family that was responsible for all the frame of the tent. Another family was responsible for all the instruments and the table and the Ark of the Covenant and all the articles that were in the tent. And then Aaron's family was responsible for kind of orchestrating it all and handling all the duties having to do with the holy things, so that they would cover the holy things, so that the others that were responsible for things around the temple wouldn't even see the holy things. If they did, they would die. If anyone other than the family of Levi came to participate in the packing up of the things, then they would die. God was very, very specific. And then, as they would pack up and go to the new location, the different families would be responsible for carrying their part and then unfolding it and putting the tent of meeting back together. Now, I want to tell you how they were supposed to camp, because here's the majesty of the specifics of God. He said certain families should camp to the west of the tabernacle. And I'm going to give you some numbers. Don't be concerned about the number, but pay attention to the magnitude of the number. To the west of the tabernacle, there were 115,500 people, 3 families. And then to the left of that, to the south, there were 160,450. And then to the right of that, to the north of the tabernacle, there were 163,800, almost exactly the same number. And then to the east, or below all of that, there were 208,400, the most. Well, the least was at the top, the most was at the bottom, and on the left and on the right was almost exactly the same size. If you looked at this from the top, you'd be looking down at the tabernacle, and as the families were camped, it was in the form of a cross. Even as they camped, they were pointing to Jesus. Get with me again tomorrow. Read chapters 5 through 9, and we'll talk some more about Jesus when we get together. God bless you. We'll see you tomorrow.
Give me Jesus. Give me Jesus. You can have all this world, but give me Jesus.